thank you to the member for Northampton for bringing forward this very important debate. It was a pleasure to meet with him recently and bus manufacturers that he invited to the House of Commons and to discuss this issue in more detail, one that is hugely important for jobs and the economy in Great Britain. At first, I wanted to touch on the positive impacts of some of the zebra funding that has come our way within Nottinghamshire and within Mansfield particularly. In March of this year, we brought forward a £13 million investment in 23 new electric buses, which will serve the people of Mansfield. We previously had 2, which were made by Alexander Dennis. We continue to prioritise that UK manufacturing. So the Berry Hill Flyer, we delivered a couple of years ago now, an electric, all-electric service. 23 further buses on the 1, 6, 7 and 16 services will be delivered over the next 18 to 24 months, replacing those older diesel buses, with £2.8 million of that £13 million investment coming from the Zebra 2 scheme and from Department of Transport. So really grateful for that opportunity to deliver a better public service, to deliver that clean and greener transition in our public transport network. There are still challenges around the infrastructure, and the Honourable Member touched on the issue of electric charging infrastructure in rural areas. In particular, that's something I've spoken at great length to bus companies about in our part of the world recently. And we are also developing significant hydrogen fuel technology in the East Midlands through our hydrogen partnership, working with partners like Toyota, like Trent Barton, bus company, on the opportunities to deliver that. And I certainly see, whilst there are challenges around the use of hydrogen in private vehicles, certainly for bus companies, it's a massive, massive opportunity that we need to focus on and develop as well. I'm really proud, actually, in recent years to have worked on the new East Midlands Combined Authority, which will help to take that process forward and will help us to develop that technology and skills in the industry, as well as a 4-fold increase in transport funding locally, which, again, I'm very grateful for, devolved down to our part of the world to help us make a massive impact, to deliver a better, more joined-up bus service, fill some of those gaps, and obviously support this transition to a cleaner service. But in addition to that investment and what it means in terms of buses on the road, we're also adding value locally through our partnership through us and Nottinghamshire County Council and Stagecoach, working with West Notts College in my constituency to support learners as well. So they are now, through this scheme, through this manufacturing scheme, and working with Stagecoach, doing work experience with the bus company, those learners who are working in engineering and manufacturing, working on vehicles, are out with Stagecoach, learning the trade on the job, getting that work experience, getting those relationships with employers and access to job opportunities in the future, which is fantastic. We're not only building those buses in the UK, but actually supporting young people in my constituency to repair, to maintain them, and to work on them too, which is fantastic for my part of the world. It would be remiss of me, Chairman, in any transport debate not to mention that buses drive on roads, and it's also really important that we continue to get that investment in our roads around Nottinghamshire, around the country. As I say, we can shift as many people onto public transport as we like, but we still need that investment in our road network. Huge, huge challenges for us locally after massive flooding challenges, after massive, or the wettest winter on record in Nottinghamshire, certainly, over this winter. And we have had significant extra investment from government, which, again, is a step forward. It would certainly be much worse without that. But we need to work with the new Combined Authority, the new Mayor. We need to work to bring forward some of that funding. That is a huge amount of funding scheduled for 2025 and onwards, a great opportunity for us. But we do need that now. And I'd urge the Minister to consider that, as well as to help me to lobby our regional mayor, who will have that funding to bring that forward. I was very disappointed, as you might imagine, not to be elected to that role myself, but I certainly had significant plans to bring forward that funding early and to get that infrastructure investment delivered. I need now to lobby our Labour mayor to deliver that. And I trust that government will support me and support colleagues in the region to do that. But like the Honourable Member for Northampton, I want to see our new buses built in the UK. It's hugely important to jobs, to skills in the way that I've described, to young people looking to get into this sector. We are massively short of skills, particularly in electric and hydrogen vehicles. If you go down any garage and try and get your car sorted, I went to a garage near where I lived the other day and I said it was a hybrid, and they said, you can't come here, mate, because we don't know what we're doing when it comes to hybrid vehicles. We are massively short of those skills. So we need to be developing that in our region as well, working with colleges in the way that I've described for us locally. But what I want to know from the Minister really in this space is that whilst I understand those procurement decisions are made locally, either by the bus companies, by Stagecoach in our case, working with us in partnership as a transport authority, in the future probably by our regional combined authority as the new transport authority. Is government doing everything in its power to ensure that, in the way that the Honourable Member described, we are taking full advantage of those procurement rules and processes? He mentioned things like community and social value in that tendering process. Pretty difficult to add value in a local community in the UK if you're building stuff in China. We need to ensure that we get that added social benefit and added economic benefit here through fair competition, but making sure that that fair competition values the things that we value for our communities, those skills, that investment, those jobs, that is so important. And I wonder if the Minister can reassure me that he takes all of those steps, the Department of Transport take all of those steps to ensure that that happens, what conversations he might have had with those local authorities who are bidding into this, or who are seeking to deliver this investment, to ensure that that is clear to them, and perhaps that the department might want to consider those factors and where these buses will be made when it decides where funding is given. It's one thing, the procurement process in itself, but the department will decide who gets to access and who is granted this funding, which is another opportunity for government to assess and prioritise this question of where those buses will be made and manufactured. So whilst they are local procurement decisions, there are a number of ways and steps and mechanisms through which ministers and the department can ensure that we're getting best value and that the majority of those buses in the future can be built here in the UK. Although there are no bus manufacturers in my constituency, there are certainly countless young people looking to benefit from the skills, looking to benefit from the career opportunities of working in automotive engineering and manufacturing, and there are certainly huge benefits to my constituents in terms of having those high quality, low emissions vehicles on our road as we look to push people into public transport. We look to deliver, using that new funding that I've worked to secure over recent years, that more joined up and better public transport network. It's a huge opportunity for us. So hopefully the Minister can offer some reassurances in that space about government's commitment to British manufacturing. And I certainly look forward to working with him, with our new regional combined authority, with his transport funding, to deliver a better network for my residents.